Some days are easy, some days not so much. And I remember feeling that the day that I self-diagnosed as having some sort of depression, and that was way back when I was 21. I was having a really rough day, and I knew that I was depressed, but I never thought of the fact that, maybe I do suffer from depression in some way. And I am one of the many people who have not gone out and actually gotten professionally diagnosed. I self-diagnosed because I wanted to find some sort of way for myself to confront the thoughts that I was having and determine the origin of the depression, or even simply determine the fact that sometimes depression does not even have an origin or a trigger. Sometimes it simply is. And this part of my series, I really want to talk about the toxic environment in the community when it comes to diagnosing depression, because a lot of people self-diagnose because they are afraid of professionally diagnosing themselves because of the stigma surrounding having depression, or because of the fears surrounding the medications associated with depression. There are many medications that work, there are many medications that make things worse. It really varies from person to person. It's this very nebulous discussion and nebulous concept of whether or not these medications actually work. And I've been kind of that person falling into that train of thought, like, oh, do I want medication? Do I want to risk it making it worse and me losing the control that I have over my depression? It's a very interesting conversation. I've had very good friends of mine suggest that, Donny, you probably should go get some help. You probably should see if medication works. And I haven't yet made that decision, and I may do that. I don't know. But I think it's still important to discuss the fact that self-diagnosis isn't always a bad thing. It really depends on how one uses that self-diagnosis. Some people will self-diagnose and cause themselves to experience a lot of fear and uncertainty. Others, like myself, self-diagnose in order to find some sort of direction to go in with regard to what I can do for myself or what professional help that I can seek. A lot of professionals will say, you probably shouldn't self-diagnose, you should probably just go to a doctor and get professionally diagnosed. But in my mind, a person with depression at some point always knows when something is wrong. How can we know when to go get professional help if we don't first diagnose ourselves deep inside? I think the idea of self-diagnosis warrants further discussion because there is a lot of questions surrounding it. And in many ways, I'm still answering a lot of questions as well, because depression is always uncertain. It's never a concrete thing. Some days I am a lot more depressed, some days I'm not. Some days I'm really happy, some days it's just this mixture of in-between. It's definitely a spectrum, and I think self-diagnosis is a spectrum as well. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Share your thoughts in the comment section below if you have also self-diagnosed. And stay tuned for my next video that discusses masculinity and depression and how that impacts individuals. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this.